3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our 2022 interview with Mr. Bren Chong. He's a businessman. You own so many different companies and, of course, an esports team. So, everybody, good to have you guys back. And we're going to catch up with Bren right now because it's been about a year since we last interviewed. And, of course, last time it was Zoom. Because of the pandemic, so we're finally doing an in-person interview again, which is wonderful. So, Bren, can you start us out by telling us kind of what you've been up to this past year?
All right. First, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And I've been to a lot of stuff, actually, because the pandemic really gave us a surprising challenge.
It did.
I think we talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And fixing it takes time. I mean, you fix it, but you gotta let time flow still and to see if it's a really good fix, and you still have to adjust. I think it's opening up now, and we still have to adjust more. I've been working on an app, a social media app, gift card. We're planning to give advertising money to the user, and the gift card could be used in different countries. So far we're working on such project, and hopefully we roll them this year in USA.
That's amazing. So speaking of the United States, you've been staying here in the States recently. How long have you been staying here?
Well, I've been here since July.
Okay.
But I kind of like seeing how to do things right rather than just doing it and then making it right. So it was really slow. I talked to accountants, I talked to lawyers, and I check offices, I interview people too. So it's like hard hat work, like at first, just to know everything, because I get to decide, and what I decide will impact a lot of people and a lot of money too. So I just have to do it for me to learn also. It's something new to me.
So are you planning to relocate to the States permanently down the road, or?
Well, I have to spend time here because I have to plant the business in USA. We're planting also in Indonesia and Malaysia.
Oh, very cool.
And of course I have other business also in Switzerland, in Panama, in London. But here in USA is the bulk of the growth that I see. And I have to study all these 52 states, their legalities. So it takes time to study a big land, a big country. So I guess I'll be staying here for quite a while.
Okay. So how have you enjoyed your stay here in the States versus these other countries that you've lived or stayed in for an extended period of time?
Well, States is always friendly to people.
Oh, good.
You know.
I'm so glad.
and people here are very smart.
Yeah.
And very straightforward. But other places have their own strength and uniqueness too. But I think overall our world is a good place.
Yeah.
And you can travel to different places and you find positive things also there.
Yeah. Now, you talked about finding a lot of growth here in the United States. So are you referring to growth business-wise, or because you also mentioned your app, Leica Gems, which I'd definitely love to dive into and talk about that. So what did you mean? What are you referring to when you say growth in the United States?
Oh, I see the ceiling of potential is high in United States compared to, for example, just Philippines or just Singapore or just Malaysia.
Yeah.
So that one's first, and then the second, the opportunity here is different, but the system here is different too.
Yeah.
Like here, you have to be computerized. You check everything for reservation. Unlike in other countries, just go. And
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm studying all these kinds of systems, so I know. And if you're going to integrate system as a world app, of a world an app that can be used in any country, you have to study the systems in each country. So you have to study the systems in Philippines, study the systems in USA, study the systems in Indonesia, in Malaysia, and then see what's their common thing, or how do you incorporate a system that can be used all over the country, all over the world, in different countries, but they could recognize each other, and the lifestyle of each person is not that far off for what they're used to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your app a little bit, LYKA Gems. So you and your team have been working on this for quite a while. So can you give us and our viewers out there just a basic rundown of what the app is and how it works?
I think I could send you files for the audience to see later.
Perfect.
Maybe in the link.
Yeah,
later.
I can link that below for you guys. So if you scroll down, you'll see a link to the LYKA Gems
But
app.
in a general idea, it's a gift card. So it's a gem. It's a gift card that can be used in all countries after we register, of course.
Okay.
And it can be used for merchants to buy goods, and it can be used to play games. And the advertising, when you see an advertising, you'll get the benefit of giving your time watching the ads.
Okay.
So I think it's an app like any person who has no means to earn money could just stay there, spend some time, look at the ads, and probably get money while looking at the ads, and then spend for bubble tea or clothing.
Which places in the Philippines are already accepting LYKA Gems?
Yes,
as
in
payment,
Philippines, we grew to a 10 million user,
wow.
28,000 merchants.
In Philippines alone?
Yeah,
That's
but
amazing.
we had a speed bump because the government asked us to register. So we kind of said that, okay, let's pause things first and let's register it before we go global. And I think it's a good, really an experience also, or let's say, it's a good thing that we ran into those, because at start, you didn't need to, because it's a gift card, it's not really money. But when we grew big, it becomes like money.
Yeah.
So I think the government asking us to register is a good thing too.
Okay.
For people to really be safe, just in case, regulations.
Yeah. So when you would describe this as a social media app, correct?
Yes, it's a social media app. You can post your pictures, your videos. You can learn something there. So it's a social media app with a grocery mall inside, and it has supposed to be a chat system where there's an auto translate, and then
That's cool.
gem, which is our so-called money, but stands for gift card in electronic mode, which we really state that it's a universal gift card, can be traded also, can be passed on.
That's really neat. So it's completely different from the other social media that's out there, like TikTok or Instagram, etc., because you can directly earn funds via these gift cards just from being on the app, right? And participating, posting, or watching ads, correct?
Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay,
If
wow.
I can send
really
you
cool.
files maybe so people could
Yeah,
look at
I'm
it.
sure they would love to see that and to explore it. So so you obviously have plans to release this app outside of the Philippines. Is the States your next market that you're looking to open it up to?
Well, we have an office in Indonesia already.
Wonderful,
And I think
okay.
there's like 30,000 merchants who's already onboarded,
Wow,
but just
that's
waiting
awesome.
for us to complete the registration. Malaysia, we have a team there already. We're paying salaries also for Indonesia and Malaysia. South Korea, we're hunting for a country head already. In Nevada, I know the progress will be complete. The registration will be complete on July of this year.
That's exciting.
So
That's soon.
I think this year you'll see us operate in Nevada.
Okay.
And then from there, we registered also in different states. And California, I think, is the last, but it's the hardest. It takes 1 year. So I think by hopefully 2023 or before 2024, LYKA is operable in the whole United States.
Wow. It's so interesting to hear kind of the backside of, and business side, I should say, of what goes into developing an app. And it's a lot of work, and it sounds like you and your team have been working very hard to make this happen. So who would you foresee would be the main demographic using Leica Gems? What age or what gender, what type of person do you foresee using it mainly?
Well, in Manila, Philippines, our demographics is 60% female, 40% male. And the age is from 16 to 40, 42, majority. But I think nowadays, our lifespans become longer, and we just haven't been promoting it yet enough. But I think in a general population could use it. So I think what's the age consensus would be our demographic.
Okay.
That's what I think. I'm not sure. This is really funny because a lot of people say, what's the projection, what's our this and that. But I'm just starting to learn this stuff. And I wish I could tell you, and it would be honest that I know, but often in life, you do not know, but you just have to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, and one thing I want to share to people that I learned because I'm doing things that I do not know yet and how to do it. And there's a thing called invert thinking, where if you're not sure, you can invertly think to know what you gotta not to do to learn it. So I'll give you an example.
Okay.
For example, how do you make sure that you have a good relationship or a good marriage, for example? But no, it's very broad. You don't know how to answer it.
True.
So you gotta say how to destroy it.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And then you say, all right, by doing this one, it will destroy it. By doing lying, it will destroy it. By doing hiding, it will destroy it. So try not to do those. Yeah. And then eventually, you're making the relationship work.
Okay.
So that's like inward thinking. On other things is how to start a business. I mean, you still don't know. Like everybody, I know the kids want to start, but they don't know. So you better start knowing how to destroy the business or how to not do the business. So by not keeping records, by not hiring professionals, by not checking on your spending, and then check them. Eventually, you'll able to start a business. I'm not saying it's that easy, but I'm saying there are so many things in life we do not know, and we really can't find the answer. So what you do is you think of how not to do it, and then do not do those things that you're not supposed to do, and eventually do it right. And I think this will help a lot of kids, a lot of listeners, because especially when I was younger, there's so many things I do not know also, but I didn't learn that kind of thinking. Yeah. Now that I shared it, maybe it will help you, on your curiosities on some stuff.
I think so, because I think a lot of people out there have these great ideas, but they get held back because they don't know where to start. So for you guys out there, that's a great starting point. Now, in some of our previous videos, we've told people, hey, that they are welcome to reach out and email you with ideas. So we're kind of on the topic of apps right now. So if people do have ideas for new apps out there, are they welcome to contact and email you with the ideas?
Yeah. At first, I was doing a lot of heavy work, so I didn't have time. Now I realize I could spend more time with answering questions to audiences. So
that's wonderful.
Maybe we could do this more often. Yeah. Or maybe we could have a segment where they can ask questions in the comments, and we can always answer it like every quarter or every month. That depends. We could do that. I think I would like to find time to do it. And then, what was your question again?
Just asking about if people do have these ideas for apps, can they come to you for help?
Yes. They could reach me in the email, or they could post. They'll tell you, and then you can tell me. You can screen them maybe.
Okay. So for everybody out there, I'm going to put his email below, or just write down in the comment section with your questions. So Bren and I will do a future video, and we'll answer your questions. All right, so let's segue a little bit. Let's talk about Bren Esports, your esports team. So overall, how is the team doing?
We're generally happy with what we do. Last year, the main achievement was the Valorant. We were regional champion.
Congratulations. That's exciting.
And then we changed the team also for Mobile Legends. We have good expectations from them. We're studying Wild Rift also. And other titles that has a potential to be tournament. We were studying it.
Games?
So,
Other game titles?
Other games,
Okay.
yes. So generally, Bren Esports is doing well. They're busy. It's part of growth too, you know.
Yeah. So those are the 3 games that they are competing in currently, and you said they're looking at others. Is your esports team focusing primarily on mobile gaming?
Right now, yes, in mobile gaming. But since I'm also in States, I'm studying the other console stuff and PC stuff. But I don't want to preempt anything.
Sure.
But we're looking into it.
Okay. And now I have a question that a viewer did want to ask you, and they wanted to ask you, what do you feel is the current state of mobile gaming overall as a whole?
Well, I think it's growing. It's growing fast, and I did a study. I think that majority of the population is in Asia.
Like, for mobile gaming?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and I think, yes, for mobile gaming, and they're growing now, and I think there's be a lot more catching up by mobile games compared to console games. So maybe in the 1 to 2 years, even people here in USA, I see that they're playing in their cell phones. Yeah, I remember when I was in other places too. I asked to these waiters, these people who works in a normal job, they have a phone game at least in their phone, and that they play. So that gives me the sense that the mobile is growing steady even in the United States, where it's console heavy.
Yes, that's very true. That's a good point. And it's pretty exciting to watch the whole world of progress in gaming and kind of going into something that is compact and you can game anywhere on mobile, which is neat. So speaking of, is there any games that you're playing right now? Other than chess?
Well, I play chess. I still play Clash Royale.
Okay.
Sometimes I look at the Hearthstone.
Yeah.
And Lord's Mobile from time to time. I still look at it. But recently I've been focusing on the app. That's another business venture that I'm going through. Well, I'm not the solely ownership of it. I have partners with it, so it's a business. But I'm also studying the VC, the venture capital, where how you raise money, what they're looking at, and I'm also trying to be part of a VC also, so I know the papers, so I can know the both sides, where if you're giving money, the things that you look, and if you're asking for money, the things are what you look in the United States. Because I've been doing it in Philippines, but the system there is different, and in USA the system is different. So I think I was studying a lot of how different countries and different systems work. So that made me kind of not play games much. Yeah, but after some time and getting hand of it, I'm looking to check the recent games to get back into it.
Yeah.
Games to me has a lot of education value, not in the sense that academically, but socially, emotionally, and even in competitiveness. Games is a good foundation also to train a kid for something.
That makes sense, and obviously that's what brought us together, made us meet, was through gaming.
And I met a lot of people through games,
which is amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Because you can meet people. That's the beauty of it, from all over the world that you may never meet otherwise.
And they were my close friends too. They become my close friends. Yeah. So
I love that. That's really neat. So you kind of segued us into our next topic, which is kind of talking about projects or businesses. Obviously, we've already covered Leica Gems, but are there any other that you're planning to focus on in this coming year?
Uh, well, there's some small stuff, but I'd rather not discuss it because it's still small.
Too early.
Too early. But generally, I'm still open if you want to reach me for some projects, and I'm really having hard time perfecting a pitch because if like you're doing something before in Manila where you're so used to, and you go to different country and the system is different, and at first there's so many questions like why don't they work like this, you know, I mean it's supposed to be this way, and then suddenly it's not, so you kind of like to learn how to unlearn stuff and then learn new stuff again, and then eventually able to connect them. So yeah, so that's how where I'm going at it. I mean, did I answer it correctly? I mean, your question?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's, you know, a good thing for our viewers and listeners to hear, especially those that are aspiring to be entrepreneurs themselves, because I think a lot of people maybe run into those roadblocks or they realize, I don't know how to do this, and it stops them. So
Oh, don't be afraid on things you don't know, because many people do things they don't know, and that's normal. But if you don't face the things you don't know, you will never know. And I think it's really uncomfortable at first, but that's just how it is. I mean, a baby can't walk, it's uncomfortable. he falls down. I mean, they fall down, the baby. Eventually they turn out to walk, and then now they're sprinters, they run as they grow. So I think in life also, there are so many things we don't know, but we must not be scared of it. But do it. As long as you have a purpose why you're doing it, then just do it.
So kind of on that topic a little, is there something that stands out that you have learned in this past year since we last did our previous interview?
Well, I may not say, let's say, I learned patience, but not many people may look at it because I'm doing everything fast. But I think I learned patience because there's some things you cannot force, and there's some things you have to accept too. So, you know, in your mind, there's some stuff that it has to be like this, but reality is it's this, and you have to accept it whether you like it or not. And the earlier you learn to accept the reality, and the more you just work on it because it's not going to change, the easier for you to move forward.
Okay. I think that's great advice, especially in today's world, is everything is so fast-paced. People want results really quickly.
But I have to add something.
Yes, please do.
But sometimes you don't know the completeness of the reality. For example, I'm doing this and I'm having hard time, but in reality, there's so much people also who have VC money, but they're just waiting, choosing who to give it to. Right? But the reality is it's not that easy, but it's there. And they're really gonna give it, but you have to pass certain stuff like plans, projection, and there's also like, for example, I'm just sharing my experience, and just for them to share for the kids. They'll say, "What's your projection? What's your projection on different countries? What's your projection for 6 months?" It's like, how do you know your projection, right? You did it in one country, that's Philippines, and then you're gonna project something in Malaysia, Indonesia, in USA. I mean, who can answer it? Yeah, but there are ways to do it. You hire professionals, and they say it's not that, you know, accurate, but by comparatives, market comparatives, more or less, this can be your projection. So what I'm saying is, reality, there's so much to learn, but you have to spend time.
That makes sense.
And your reality is the truth, and my reality is the truth, but actually our combination of your reality and my reality is also the real reality, but we just have to study different stuff, and you have to be exposed and an explorer of different stuff.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and it seems like you've made the efforts to learn what you need to do in these different countries that you're exploring to open the app in. So have you been able to do a lot of traveling, or have you been traveling a lot this past year?
Well, last year I've been to many places, different states. Just don't want to name them because
Sure.
And yeah, I've been traveling a lot
Okay.
because I have to grow, I have to learn, I have to do research. Time was fast.
Yeah.
It was just like last year. It was 2019, and I can remember everything.
Yeah.
The first thing that there's a pandemic, and it's now it's 2022.
Yeah.
So fast.
I
Yeah,
know.
it was really busy.
It's gone by really quickly. So one kind of exciting thing to shift gears a little that's blown up, I think, these past few years of the pandemic is cryptocurrencies. So what is your thought on cryptocurrency?
Okay, I believe cryptocurrency has a potential, but I still think it's still a long way. Now, I don't want to say which currency to back
Sure.
and not back because I'm not an expert on this, okay? But I do hold some Bitcoins and some Ethereum, and until now, those are the only thing I'm sure of that will hold value.
Okay.
I'm not saying, only thing I'm sure of, but that's my opinion, okay? Based on my knowledge.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not an expert,
Right.
but I think if you're holding Bitcoin and Ethereum, you'll be okay if you're holding it for a long time.
Okay.
Other than that, I cannot say anything. I mean, I might make other children or people
Yeah.
lose money.
Yeah, I guess you never know. I was going to ask you if you think it's a wise investment, I guess, compared to, the stock market or other areas to invest.
I think you should really invest on learning it, and then because I cannot comment on cryptocurrencies because there's a lot and I didn't study it. But I could suggest something, and here's the suggestion: you gotta study it thoroughly, one at a time, and you
Okay.
understand it, and from your personal experience, you can invest maybe and then see through it what you learn. Probably have a book or write on it,
Yeah.
log on it, how you feel
Yeah.
and everything. Because it's part of learning too. It's just one way to become an expert on it. And if you have time, rather than just wasting your time, if you're spending your time studying something, you learn from it. Eventually, that knowledge is yours and couldn't be taken away. And if you wrote it also, so you got a record or history
Okay.
record of this is what was it, and you feel, and you become more wiser with it.
Okay.
So, at the end of the day, I always stress to people that it's not really the money. I mean, you need the money, but it's what you become because of studying. It's what you become because of the money. It's what you become because of the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's why some people they say, I become rich, then I'm gonna give it all to charity, because it's really not about the money. It's what they become when they become successful.
I see. And kind of tying back into your previous advice of having patience. And I think that's hard for people with investing, especially I think with cryptocurrency, because it's so driven by social media and what people see on Reddit or Twitter. And they want to get in, make money, and get out. So I think that's wise advice for sure.
Yeah.
Man, so how do you balance? I feel like you're so busy. How do you balance your, family, your work life, your business, and, time for yourself?
Actually, to answer that, it's not an everyday thing balance. Like, it's not an everyday thing balance.
Okay.
Like, you spend 2 hours for this, and
Okay,
it's
yeah.
balance. I think it's kind of like push and pull, where there's a phase where you just work, and then the family gets left behind, and then eventually, if you see family left behind, you take your time off the work, and then you pull your family closer, and then suddenly there's a self-knowledge that you say, hey, I didn't learn anything, so might as well take some time to learn anything. So I look at balance not on a daily stuff,
Okay.
but more on the overall big picture stuff. But I'm not saying do that like what I do. What I'm saying is that's how I do it.
Okay.
Of course, there are certain things that has to be regimental, like an exercise daily, which in all honesty, I've been skipping because I'm busy. I had no time to exercise. So I think I gained weight. But generally, the balance is not always balanced. The balance is, you're aware of that. It's like eating. You're eating much, and then later you're fasting, and then later after fasting you say, yeah, you fast and you eat. So it's not like this is the set solid parameter that you have to stick to. It's not like that. It's got to be fluid, and you got to be aware of. And I think that's more to the key, that you're being aware, and then you'll be able to move and adjust in according to the unbalances that you recognize.
Now, would you say that you work every single day to some extent?
Yes, I do work every single day. If I don't work my mind, I work my staff, I work to learning, and I work also in the relationship I have to friends, people. So yeah, I think everybody's working some way, one form or another.
Okay, and we've kind of talked about this a little bit, but what is one piece of advice that you would give to somebody out there who's watching or listening today that's kind of aspiring to be an entrepreneur and successful like yourself?
Well, I don't think I'm that successful yet. I think I got a long way to go. But advice is
very humble
for the kids and for the listeners is there's so much to learn and so much to do. And you really have to figure out who you're going to do it with and what do you want to do it. But I think just be an explorer, learn, and always have a plan. But know that the plan is not fixed.
Okay.
There's a general long-term plan that as long as you hit there, it's okay. But sometimes you really have to be adaptable, and things change fast, so you got to change with it too. And don't be hard-headed. And I think always ask for help. Like I told in my previous interview, I really feel like in my journey here, there's a lot of people who've helped me. Those who listen, who knows you helped me, thank you. You know it, some way or another, you taught me also different perspective, different experiences, point of view in USA, the talents here. So I appreciate it. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who are expert on different fields, like expert in photography, expert in raising capital, expert in doing decks. But you just have to look for them and ask for their help. And it may be easy for them. For example, if you're a weightlifter and I can't lift weights, but to the weightlifter it's easy. So you just know how to ask. You just know how to search for them and ask for them. But you have to listen too.
Yeah.
So to those people out there who are listening, please, if you find your dream or you got something you want to do, just do it. And there's always people who will help you do it. But you have to ask. I think people are generally good, but you have to ask first.
Okay. I feel like that's such helpful knowledge, and you've dropped a lot of helpful knowledge today. Now, before we close out, is there anything else that you want to share throughout from our last time, or anything you want the fans to know?
Well, I'd like them to know that, of course, aside from we're always working, this app is like my current focus now, and I want to expand it. It's a LYKA app with a gift card. It's called LYKA Gems. I like to expand it in all over the world. And if you're in a different country and you think you can help, you can maybe reach us in an email or ask Dina for whatever help you can provide. Maybe expertise, maybe legal, or maybe if there's a country that you want us to open there, maybe we could reach out and talk to you, and we can establish a connection. How we're gonna set up first, so we could set up faster. And also, if you know VCs who are interested in a conglomerate, in an app that has a vision for a worldwide app, so maybe we can set up a meeting or hook us up or give us an intro. We would appreciate it. And then, yeah, I mean, this journey to IPO something in USA, and I haven't done it, but if there's people who've done it, and or you have uncle or family or your friend who've done it, maybe you can refer to us, or you can refer me to them, and that would be helpful. And I'm sure we're a good person, we're a good organization for them to meet also. Just that. I mean, it's me also asking, help also if they can.
I love that. Well, what a wonderful interview. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I know our community out there so appreciates you sharing this knowledge. I feel like it's so valuable. And if you guys missed any of our previous interviews, we've been doing interviews since 2016. You can check them all out on the YouTube channel here, and there will be information about Leica Gems linked below. Bren's email is going to be below as well, and you can always just leave comments or questions in the comment section. And thank you, Bren, so much once again.
All right, thank you too.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Bye, guys.
Until then.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!